Hello again, join me in a van in central London. We're going to do an EICR. These are some pretty massive gaffs, to be honest. I've got a communal EICR to do. Looks like it's in a dank basement as well, so it's going to be proper rubbish work. But anyway, let's go inside. The size of these gaffs around here. So getting parked. So I'm just next to Edgware Road Station. Parking in this space, which I was quite lucky to find. I can park till 12:30. It's currently 7 o'clock in the morning, and £27.50 for 4 hours parking. It's madness. God, look at that mess. There's a lot of bitumen. So you can see all the pitch leaking out of here. So that's our incoming cable. And it's in this spreader box, which is filled with pitch to keep the conductors separated. But looks like something out of a horror movie, doesn't it? Got a massive 400 amp head here, which is going off into this rifle board, which goes off to feed the flats. I'm not testing this, it's just a communal area, but you can see that comes up, and then that's all the supplies to the flats going around this bit of tray here and off. But that is one ancient mains, isn't it? Some big old fuses. I think we can see in there, can we? Just about, actually. But I'm here to test that and that. Actually, what is in there? So we've got I'm guessing that just feeds this. That tiny bit of armoured. Or waste of cable. Oh, I wonder what that does. I have to get the lid off. Some old looking cables here though. There's an old pyro there. I don't know what this mess is. I really don't know what the hell that is. It's a really old cable. I don't know if that's a pilk that's just had the bit outside of it taken off. If anyone knows, let me know. It's a bit of a bloody mess in here though, isn't it? What we got? Oh, nice. Now that, my friends, is a C1. You can't just get a finger in there, you get a whole bloody hand in there. Intercom, some lights, some kind of heater, a fire alarm. Better not test that until later on in case I wake up the whole building. But I had to come in a bit early to try and beat the traffic, so I left mine at 5:30. Got here at 6:30. It's now 7. Let's just start some perks of working in London. If you're watching this and you live here, you must be balling, because it's crazy to get a permit here for the day for parking. It's £66. Westminster's actually one of the better boroughs. If you try and park in Camden, they're just like, screw you, get a parking ticket. They don't let you park for more than like an hour or 2 hours. I've got a 4-hour bay out there, but I can't park for the whole day. Anyway, I'm gonna get some lids off and have a little look. Alright, that's our lid off. So we've got a pyro supply here, which is 3-phase. It doesn't look like it's 3-phase and neutral, is it? Oh no, there's a neutral conductor. So that's gonna go over. It looks like it goes over to the lift shaft. So there's a lift shaft here. So that's gonna be a limitation. I'm not gonna be able to get into there due to access. And I'm not gonna knock it off either, because normally that means they're out of commission. This is the trouble with a lot of EICRs like this. The limitations are, as the word says, quite limiting. But yeah, that's going to be ignored, but that's that pyro there. So it's not really supported adequately throughout its length. It would be an observation maybe, but there doesn't appear to be any kind of, on these pots, you normally get a little fly lead coming off of it. But I can't really test it, so it's not the best. Same with this. I've only got 2 cores. There's nothing on the banjo coming off, no banjo on it too. So like here, you see the banjo. Then you get a tag going off towards the earth, but that's our earth here. And so it's just relying on this, how tight that is, depending for its earth for this. But go on to the other board in a sec, it has got a separate earth. But yeah, this is our incomer. I can't get this lid off of here. These are really screeching, and I don't want to, because these can go through and end up disturbing what's behind. I don't want the risk of me taking this off and damaging a cable behind and it shorting, because 400 amps is just, this supply is huge. The prospective fault current is probably going to be huge as well, so I don't fancy blowing up on my own. So I'm not going to be removing this, but what I can see from here is if we follow this, it's our incoming red and then our outgoing red. So there's different poles going through different holes here. I mean, it's under 100 amp, so it shouldn't be an issue. But what's that joined onto? Is there Henry blocks horsed into this for that supply to come up? I imagine so, but I might try and see if I can peel it from this corner, but these are just not moving and I don't fancy shorting to the case. Anyway, there is another earth that runs with this, so that's coming down into this block here, but that goes through that massive hole. Look at the size of it, quite easily get a finger in there. And this is our main DV as such. It's weird, they put a 3-phase board there. They could have just put some more ways, put these ways in there, but anyway, this is our single phase board. This was off when I found it, so I'm guessing, I don't know if it's tripped or there's a fault on it. It's one of those ones, it's like, I normally put an observation, it's like found off and left off, because it's probably off for a reason. But you can see that's an armoured that's just into a stuffing gland there. That's not glanded properly. It's just a bit of a mess, really. What's it saying up here? Not much. This is going to be a funny EICR. I'm going to start trying to get a lay of the land, figure out what's going on. If I see anything fun, I'll show you anyway. Join the bit. So I peeled the trunking off from this end, just about opened it up, and this is actually, I'll try and show it, they've actually stripped the tails and slipped it over it. So that's actually the outer sheath of a tail that they've just slid over the cable to make it double insulated, which I'm not mad about, to be fair. So that actually just glands in there and then just turns and comes straight back up into it. I can't see where it's getting its earth. There's no banjo on this bit, so it's not going to be the greatest earth. Anyway, I'm going to start testing this. The circuits are a bit of a mess. I've had a little wander around, and yeah, it's all quite antiquated, to be honest. But yeah, it's quite a clever way of making it compliant. It's not in a meter cupboard either. This is in a locked cupboard, so better than the meter cupboards we see from the NIC approved contractors that we see a lot of. Anyway, let me get into this. Carried out my loop test, external loop test. As you can see, it's quite low, so I've done it to each phase and taken the highest value. They're all 0.06, but try not to show no light. That's our prospective fault current. Because it's 3-phase, we double that value, so it's 9.6. If we look at the equipment in here, we need to check if it's rated correctly for it. So if we look on the side here, you can see the 10 KA. I don't know if it's, you can see on this side. Pretty sure that one is, to be honest, but it's checking that it's rated at the right current. So if we look over here on this one, does this say? So you see the 6,000, so you can break 6 KA safely. I've not tested here yet, but it's just checking the equipment's appropriately rated. In all honesty, the fuses in here can take 33,000, so it's not going to be an issue. This will rupture the current, but you want this to be able to do the job before the backup. If there was a dead short here. The other important thing to remember is that you have to add the resistance of the circuit onto it. So even though this is 0.06, the end of it, well, not so much this one, but that one is going to have a fault on it, and you've got to add the resistance of the cable, which can make this number go up, which inversely makes this one go down. So yeah, sometimes people get too hung up on the max KA rating of devices, when in reality you're measuring it here, but there's never going to be a dead short here unless a plonker's in there shorting things out. But yeah, I'm tested to each one. I'm going to do my phase rotation, but that's not going to be too much higher. So make a note that these ones are only 6K, but it's going to be single phase anyway. It'll be interesting to see how much higher it will be. God, you can't even see my screen anymore, can you? Be interesting to see how much higher this would be with that short runner cable. Probably going to be about 0.07. Just quickly tested this one, and we got 0.05, so it's actually lower. Maybe it's because it's got the additional earth to it, and this one hasn't actually got it. It's just going through the sheath, but this one's now got that earth and then the earth of that sheath through the casing back down and into here. So it's a bit lower, but it still doesn't exceed the KA rating of these devices, because this is now single phase, so this isn't now doubled. The other thing to point out is that there's no way I can remove the bonding conductors, because I've got this whole installation live. The only way I'll be able to do it is to isolate every single flat. So it's going to be a limitation basically stating that it was tested with the bonding conductors connected, because there is a bond over here on the gas main here. So that's probably introducing quite a good earth path, to be honest. Right, you join me in the block next door. Basically, a cleaner started getting in the way, so I was like, you know, let me just come over here and have a little look. So this one is not dissimilar layout, but I don't know if it's worse or better. You know, let me flip you around. So we've got these 3 different meters for the phases for the landlord supply, and you notice here the neutral comes in and loops through and back out, because it's just a reference for this. It doesn't need to. I mean, the load might go through it, but this is more than likely just a reference meter basically going through. So you could just have it loop from that one to there and stop. Then it's got its reference to actually measure the current, because it only measures it through the 2 outside ones basically. I don't know if that's an interesting fact or not, but there's a lot of tampering stickers on them. See, this is from, the second number there is normally the year, so 1976, 74, from the London Electricity Board, which doesn't exist anymore. But all of this goodness comes along. It goes into, I don't know if it goes into that first. I'm not taking this trunking off, but it goes into this. Now, this is what feeds our board this way here. So you see that comes down, goes through that hole and across and into here. Now, that is only 32 amp. If I show you this one conveniently here, so we've got a 32 amp breaker here, fuse. Clean this up a bit. You see the KA rating? Can you? 40 KA. It's a hell of a rupture it can take. Dawn Smith. So yeah, that's what's feeding in here. So at least I've got the supply characteristics for it. It's quite handy, because otherwise all you've got is that little window. It says 32 amp, but yeah, you can't really see much. That's going off. We've got a board here which just does sockets, which I'm assuming it's this massive bank of sockets here, and maybe whatever that does, which just disappears out the window. And then we've just got sockets, intercom, fire alarm, stair lights, mains light that must be in here, and then the mag lock. So it's not that many circuits. It's still quite a tangular cable. A lot of that's data though. Some random one here. Our incoming mains is around here. Let's see if we can see the size on these ones. Doesn't say. Not that I can see anyway. Big old cable though, isn't it? So we've got a TNS supply. Not going to be able to remove any of the bonding conductors or anything like that, which goes into this rye field, and then this lot goes over to feed all of the flats. So following that round, that's our landlord supply here going in. And it's the same as next door. They've used the they've over sleeved it. So if you look, that's actually the inner core. It's buzzing quite a lot. I'm guessing someone's using a lift. Then there's a yellow phase. Then there's our blue phase. And then the neutrals loop goes into there, loops throughout, and then they're all running back through into the switch fuse and over to this distribution board for landlords. So a couple of, I'm not down to test this, I don't believe, but there's a couple of bits coming off of here as well. Don't know what they go off to. So it looks like we've got a lift supply coming off of here, which is the fuses there, and there. By the looks of it, our 3-phase and neutral, which is that 4-core pyro disappearing that way. It's quite rare to see, but in town, in London, there's quite a lot of it in some of these old places, but a lot of it is like this. So just generally a mess. Like, this is a multi-million pounds estate. Like, if I come outside, if I just look up, I'll give you the scale of it. They're probably paying an absolute fortune in like ground fees and whatever else. And this is the state of the communal areas. It's just mad, and everything's just about going. That makes sense. Like, you've got all that switch gear. It's really antiquated and not in a great condition. And you get stuff like this, which, remember that cable I said that come outside? It's gaffer taped, no less. That's how they fixed it. Gaffer tape out here, and goes into this little pump room for the water. Just horsed in around there. Little floater there. Nice. Going out to another little control box there. 2 breakers in it, which imagine do the 2 pumps. Mental, innit? It's just all horsed in. Like, an old lead there. I don't know how well you can see that. That's coming in. But I thought the mains pressure was quite good in London. But I don't know what these are doing, if they're some kind of filtration. I'm sure if there's any plumbers watching it, they'll tell me what's going on and why there's tanks here. But everything's just a little bit yee-haw. You know, the proximity of services. There's our mains cable coming down. There's the water. It's a little bit close. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on, get some bits done. I'm not gonna take you around actually doing the test, just look at the interesting stuff like that. These stairs are doing me in. Check it out. Killer. So that's a pretty basic layout. So on every floor you've got one cleaner socket, just a couple of wall lights, a ceiling light depending on the floor you're on, with a microwaves, PIR sensor basically picking you up as you go up and down, which means there should be permanence. I might have to just take a reading from there or bypass it to get a reading at the end of the line. I'll get one lead and run around all of these as well. They look like they could be really hard to take down. Hopefully it's just that nipple bit in the centre. There is a lift here, but it's an old building. I don't fancy getting stuck in a lift. So, plus, I definitely need the exercise. But it's quite swank. Not really much in the way of views, but how the other half live, eh? But basically, it's just going to be a socket light on each floor. The door entries downstairs, fire alarms downstairs, mag locks downstairs. Those sockets are in that room downstairs, so it's really nothing exciting going on here. I'm going to nip round, get some readings and get some inspections done, and then I'll check in with you in a bit. These stairs are so treacherous and so steep. Do you reckon that was broken by someone's head? I reckon it's about head high. So come down to some random basic here. You can see the back of his fin. It's not in the best location, is it? But yeah, it's a bit all thrown together. But while I navigate these treacherous stairs, it's more of a ladder. If you need formless electrical services, I cover all of London and surrounding areas. So hit me up, there'll be a link in the description below. And yeah, if you need EICRs done, any electrical work in and around London, hit me up. So back in block 9, finished off some testing here, made safe that C1 in here, just chuck a couple of plastic blanks in. So just, you saw some of the bits I sort of pointed out as we're going around, so they're going to be C2s and bits and bobs, and then these ones are going to be X codes, but the issue being, it's B&O equipment, isn't it? Because DNO, B&O, so it's whoever owned, the freeholder of the building is responsible for all of this. It's only going to be a C3 at the end of the day, this bit, but then the X code I put for this with the gaping hole into just about see inside there. Then, I mean, to be honest, it's one of those ones where when we come back, I might just put some putty or something in it and just make it safe myself, because the issue is that trying to get UK power networks out for something like that, it's just going to be a nightmare. It's like if I tell them there's a massive puddle of carcinogenic materials on the floor, they're just going to go, oh well. But yeah, I'm going to recommend these bits be done. This mess, I mean, it's just like, yeah, it is a mess, but it isn't a danger to anyone. where it is horrible to look at, but the ones that are coming across here and going through the fire escape, I'm going to recommend some metal ties are put around it to kind of make it a bit better. But yeah, the general state of the place is a bit rough, but it's not too bad. It's a lot of C3s, a couple of C2s with broken and damaged bits, but I'm not showing you because there's been a cleaner going around quite a lot in this building, and it's really awkward talking to a camera and filming. I just get shy around people. Anyway, hopefully you got something out of that. I'm not really sure what on earth I filmed, in all honesty, but hopefully you got something out of it. If you'd like Faultless Electrical Services, drop a line down below. As I think I've said before, and I'll catch you in the next one.